Hey guys, let's talk about last week's episode of The Blacklist. And it was, a pretty dramatic episode. There was a lot happening. Pretty much the FBI was taken hostage, and Reddington was target number one. And him and Wrestler were off trying to get themselves to a secure location when a bunch of gunmen opened fire, and Wrestler's leg was almost shot and blown off. It was pretty gross. And the safest place they could go was pretty much the interrogation cage that they've been keeping Redding in the first few episodes. So they lock themselves inside, and Reddington decides he's going to perform like a blood transfusion right there because Wrestler is losing a ginormous amount of blood, and he's pretty much on death's door. So Reddington grabs a whole bunch of supplies before they get into the little cage, and off he goes performing this transfusion. Now, meanwhile, all this is going on, the people that have taken over this location are pretty much terrorizing Reddington outside of the cage, and this guy's spewing off all of this stuff that Reddington has done to him in the past, and that he's here for vengeance. And I guess Red had done all this stuff to him, and he had this huge scar on his face because of it, and they're pretty much just antagonizing each other back and forth. Meanwhile, all this is going on. We have her ragtag team of FBI's, running up and down trying to get these guns, but they get overpowered and now they're being held hostage. And Lizzie's, who wasn't with the whole team when all this went down, she was in an elevator, has found herself out of the elevator and she's running around barefoot, which kind of reminds me of Die Hard. And she's trying to get to them as well. And she's, killing some of these bad guys and taking their guns and what have you. And they're trying to get the power system back online because obviously the bad guys have taken over all the power, and there's no way for them to communicate in the outside world. So all this is happening, and, we finally come towards the end of the episode, and, they've got pretty much the chief, they've got him at gunpoint, and they're like, give us the code so that we can get Red out of here. And he refuses to do so. And, Red and Wrestler pretty much know that as soon as that door opens, they're both dead. So the captain is refusing to do it. And so then, of course, the bad guy goes and grabs two of Red's people. And I'm sorry, I don't know their names, but that is one of the problems with the show, is that we haven't gotten any real backstory on any of these people. So when he grabs the girl and he has the gun to her head and he's pretty much saying to Red, get out or I'm going to kill her, she's like crying, and, he's begging the captain to give him the code, and he says, no, I'm not going to do it. And, they kill her. And of course, the blood spews everywhere, and it gets all over the glass. And I mean, it was more for graphic effect than it was for emotional effect, because they've really given us no information on this girl, so I have no emotional connection to her. And then, of course, they did the same thing with the guy that is partners with Red. And right before it ends, like they're, having this moment where they're speaking some other language, and, pretty much he's saying that we'll meet each other in another life. And right as you hear a gunshot goes off, it cuts to black. So, I mean, it was an entertaining episode. It was probably the most action-packed that we've seen so far. But, I think for me, and I think it's hard when I've started to just find a show kind of one note, that it's hard for me to get my energy level back up. I find the lead in Lizzie very dull. I don't see a lot of emotion behind her eyes, so I can't resonate with her character. I don't get emotionally connected to her. And so her running around, barefoot trying to get to where these guys are, I'm not really like on the edge of my seat. Do I think Lizzie's going to die? No. Do I think Red is going to die? No. Could Wrestler die? Possibly. Could the other, two main FBI guys in this show die? Sure. Is it going to really impact me? No, because again, they haven't really invested in these characters a lot, and we haven't felt a connection. I know it's only been a short amount of episodes, but if you're going to have this kind of a hostage crisis, and we're really supposed to feel for the characters that are being taken, then you should have done a really good job of developing their characters so I have an emotional investment in them. which I don't at this point. So again, we didn't get any of her husband except for off the top when she was crying about her father dying in last week's episode. So, you know, we're probably going to pick up right where we left off. Did they kill the guy right before the episode ended? Probably, maybe not. Maybe it was a warning shot. Who knows? I'm pretty sure, though, that the episode's going to end with them grabbing Lizzie, and then Red's going to want to surrender, and, you know, Wrestler will feel ultimately appreciative to Red for saving his life. Lizzie will see that Red turned himself in for her, so there'll be an emotional connection there. I mean, the writing's pretty much on the wall with this one, guys. So unless it proves me wrong, we'll see tonight. Okay, guys, that has been my review for The Blacklist. I mean, it was the best episode I guess I've seen so far, but again, I haven't been that emotionally connected to all the characters, so when you point a gun at someone's head and you end up shooting them and you haven't really told me much about them, the emotion isn't really there for me. Okay, guys, I'll see you next week with my review of tonight's episode. All right, see you. Bye.